shot to pieces. Since the artist is a representative of his times, he ought to show the times as they really are, as a social critic. So he makes the most weird. He paints Campbell's soup cans, and he makes music that shrieks and screams. He just goes out of his way to make it sound as ugly as he possibly can manage. And the ingenuity is about that is endless. Because that is the times. This is critical. See?
Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on. And you're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it.
Let's take the character of the Pied Piper. The person who brings you an invitation to dance. I say then, you see, there is going to be a dance this evening, and I would like you all to come. That's the spirit in which I invite you to a seminar. I am not inviting you in the spirit of saying, no, we're going to have to discuss some very grave matters, and you ought to be awake to all these things and arouse your social conscience. When you get through with all that, then what? When you get through with all that, then what? When you get through with feeding the hungry and clothing the naked, and we are making great strides with automation and technology in abolishing poverty totally, then what are we going to do? Then what are we going to do? Well, you see, if you've got all these people clothed and fed and so on, then they say, well, now what next? If you've got a kind of Quakerish state of mind, you don't know what to do. Well, feed and clothe somebody else. Get busy. But then, where is that leading?
Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on. And you're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. Listen, kids. Things aren't what they seem. Don't be fooled. There's a big deception going on. And you're involved in it, but I just thought you ought to know it.
Self has thus the capacity to abandon itself, to forget itself, to hide from itself, and thus to make the most completely convincing illusion. But in play. And so the activity, the creative activity of the Godhead in Hinduism is called Leela, which means play. Play. Our word lilt is related to it, I think. But so also in the book of Proverbs, you will find a discourse being given by the divine wisdom. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his ways before his works of old. Its delight was to rejoice, the King James Bible says, in the presence of God and with the sons of men. But the Hebrew translated rejoice says play. 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 Rejoice is a sort of dignified Elizabethan, but it says play. And St. Thomas, aware of this, said that the divine wisdom was above all to be compared with games. Because games are played for their own sake, not for any ulterior motive.
Meaning Wave, because music is everything.
And so that is a nice little tangle. If I put this in the language of Oriental philosophy and religion, it would be something like this. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. One who abandons that desire attains nirvana, which is supreme peace, liberation. Nirvana means in Sanskrit, blow out. That is, exhale the breath. Exhale the breath. The opposite, desire, is to breathe in. Now, if you breathe in and hold it, you lose your breath. But if you breathe out, it comes back to you. It comes back to you. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. So the principle here is, if you want life, don't cling to it. Let go. Let go. But the problem is, if I desire not to desire, is that not already desire? How can I desire not to desire? How can I surrender myself when myself is precisely an urge to hold on, to cling to life, to continue to survive. To survive. To survive. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. The Buddha said that wisdom must come only from the abandonment of selfish craving or desire. I can see rationally that by clinging to myself I may strangle myself. I may be like a person who has a bad habit, as a result of which he is committing suicide. And he knows that, but can't give it up, because the means of death are so sweet.
Monks used to keep skulls on their desks. And people nowadays think that was very morbid.